I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
And this is I Walk on Gilded Splinters by the band Dr. John.
This is for Kevin.
Shout out to the big homie Kevin. For timely topical political commentary, you can hit us up in Middle America with Vin and Sori, where we have a very lively...
Has it gotten more lively since you've had DL
Since DL Beluga? Well, the topics we've been covering, apparently Glenn Greenwald is a rabid, wild-eyed, tinfoil hat wearing Alex Jones equivalent conspiracy theorist. Who knew? Most people thought Glenn Greenwald was a pretty credible source, but hey, what can you know? So the comment section is very, very interesting. If you, dear listener, would like your song reviewed, who is this again?
This is for Kevin.
If you, dear listener, would like your song reviewed, like the big homie Kevin, there are multiple ways to accomplish this feat. My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. Mm-hmm. By the way, patrons, Patreon does their deductions on the 4th of the month. So, if you had...
You always do it on the 4th. Sometimes they do it sooner.
Yeah, sometimes they do it sooner. If you had thought to yourself that you were going to cancel your account or whatnot, please go in there and do that now so you don't get charged. Obviously, if you do get charged and you reach out to us and say, hey, I was planning on not doing it this month, reach out to us. We'll take care of you. But, so... It's
happened a couple times.
Yeah.
Where people are like, I didn't realize, I forgot, or I thought it was disconnected and then it continued to... So, whatever, it doesn't matter the reason to us. We don't want...
Yeah, you don't know us an explanation.
You don't know us that. We don't want it if you don't want to give it, so don't...
Yeah,
send us
so
a message.
if you were going to cancel, please make sure you reach out to us and we'll take care of that. Okay, so $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance and then you pull your points together and that determines what songs we review. If you don't want to work in an alliance and you want to hop, skip, and jump in front of everybody, then you could do what the big homie did. $125 at the gate gets you straight to the head of the line. You do that 3 times and you go back down to the $75 rate. Having said all that, I Walk on Gilded Splinters. Dr. John, let's go.
Think they jive me, but I know they must be crazy. Don't see their misfortune, else they just lazy. Je suis le grand zombie, my yellow belt of choice on. Ain't afraid of no tomcat, fill my brains with poison. Walk through the fire, fly through the smoke. See my enemy at the end of their road. Walk on pins and needles, see what they can do. Walk on gilded splinters with the king of the Zulu. Dang, I'm at a walk on gilded splinters.
What a weird song.
I like it.
Did I put roll out my coffee, drink poison in my chalice. Pride begins to fade, and y'all feel my malice. Put Gregory on your doorstep, soon you'll be in the gutter. Melt your heart like butter, and I can make you stutter. Somebody call me, kill it, come, walk on, kill the splinter. Come me, kill it, come, walk on, kill the splinter. Chandel, c'est la fée caraba. Coco Roby Show. Padre Diablo, Grand Conga Brother. Did I put up? Kill the con, that'll walk on, get the splinter. Kill the con, walk on, get the spinners. Coco Road Show. Down at the soiree on the bayou. In your party, your mother, your meme,
You're a meme?
Mame, your peme, your papa diabo. Drink on the bra. Jovial Chandel. Still I figure out. Let's coast and long. Finny, Finny. Let it come.
It's like the soundtrack to a Tarantino movie. Folks about to do something real bad.
Family fan and a course and long. Still I figure I was on the bra. Piling a mile and man too. On power diabo. Grind on the bra. Piling mile man there. And no. Piling man there.
Okay. Some of that was really strange, but it had like this, I don't know, it had like this good vibe to it.
It sounded like first of all, it sounded like you're in the bayou out there, and he mentioned bayou, but I was in Houston. It was, what's that place? New Orleans. It sounded like New Orleans. It sounded like a seedy dive bar in New Orleans. You'd hear this stuff.
Oh, you know what? He's actually...
He talks about the bayou specifically, so...
Kevin said
this guy
it
might
has a great New Orleans voodoo vibe.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
100%.
You know what I think? Like,
and the guy's name is Dr. John, which is also kind of spooky.
Pictured that you were like, you know, like high, or smoking, and you are... I don't know if it's because he said voodoo, but like, you have a voodoo doll and you're like poking it, trying to make somebody's life miserable. But he did say something like, I can make you stutter and stuff like that. So it was kind of like one of those situations to me. And then when he went into doing that other language, is that a language you're familiar?
I don't know if it's another language.
Or if it's something that the Christians would be like,
whoa! Well, because it's French, right? Like that's part of the whole, shtick over there. It's this weird combination of English and French. I don't know if that's a specific dialect that's unique to the Bayou or whatever, but it looks like it's a slang combination between that and French.
I don't know.
Some people think they can jive me, but I know they must be crazy. They don't see their misfortune. I guess they're just too lazy. And then it says, Je suis le grand zombie, which I'm assuming is he's saying Jesus is a great zombie. Isn't that how you say Je suis? Isn't that how you say Jesus in French or whatever?
I don't know. My family kept their roots from me.
Let me see. That's Je suis in the dictionary. In the Je suis means I am. I'm positive that you said we go. Okay, so he's saying he's saying I am le grand zombie, which I'm assuming is I'm a big zombie. My yellow belt of poison. Ain't afraid of no tomcat, fill my brains with poison. So, I don't know. That's probably those are probably some voodoo-like undertones. And he's basically telling the person, like, you think you got one over on me, but basically I'm a voodoo master. I'm going to fuck your life up, but you're too dumb to see it. They don't see their misfortune. They're just too lazy.
If I had the power to do that...
What? Make the lives of your enemies miserable? You would do that?
Oh, babe, you have no idea how petty I am.
I would never do that.
Yeah, I know you wouldn't, but I would.
I feel like that's too much energy.
No, it's not that much energy to take a needle and poke it into the elbow.
Yeah, I don't think that works like that.
I think if I had the power. I said if I had the power to do that.
If I had the power, I would just channel all that energy and make my life better.
Okay, yeah, but that's not what it's about. It's about making their life miserable.
Yeah, if I
remember that person that I really I didn't like them, and you never understood really why that was such an issue for me. The person wouldn't say hi, and they were I felt rude and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And the only time that they would talk to me was when they were selling something.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden they get super friendly. That drove me nuts. Anyway, there's bots of things.
I bought the Scentsy thing from her, and you went all crazy. She's only doing it because she wants to sell you, and I was like, well,
yeah, you didn't care.
Every salesman is like that.
I felt, you know what it was? I was really it came down to I felt like that as my friend you betrayed me because I had told you all that stuff.
I know.
And then you were like, yay, you're such a great, get me blueberry cheesecake flavor.
Yeah,
Thank
she
you.
did. Thank you for coming through, Shorty. I appreciate it.
Anyway.
God, yeah. Well, just because you have a problem with somebody doesn't mean I have to have a problem with somebody. Especially on that petty shit you guys are doing.
Well, I mean, that was a long time ago. I've matured since.
I just think, if I consider a person an enemy, they're out of my circumference. I don't care. Mm-hmm. But for me, if you want to channel the supernatural power to hurt them, to me, it's why would you do that? I literally do not understand why a person would do that. Wouldn't you take that supernatural power to, give yourself $1 million or something like that?
No, that's not, because that's not one of the options. And secondly...
How do you know? Are you a voodoo master?
I'm saying, if I had the power to do that. So you're saying voodoo masters? First of all, I don't even, think somebody can do that. But let's say there is such a thing.
I don't know.
And you can actually do that. You're saying that the person has the choice? That they could give themselves $1 million, or they could.
You can have good fortune with voodoo. To me, it's just simple logic, right? If you do that, that's an exercise of some power or depletion of some energy from somewhere. Mm-hmm. So you can either use that against your enemy, or you could use that same power for yourself. Oh, what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I'm still going with no.
I would just use it for myself. Why would you? I understand. Why would you do that?
That sounds very grown up.
No, it's not grown up. But to me, it's selfish. I'm too centered on what's going on here to worry about
Yeah.
If the person is an enemy, then they're out of my life. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even think about them. So to me, it's like, that means you're thinking about them. You're wasting all this mental energy by thinking about them.
if somebody's bothering
and now
you.
you're like magical, so now you're going to use your magical energy. I'm like, yo, that's crazy to me, bro. Like,
Yeah, but the thing is,
I'm too
it's not
selfish
like
for that.
it's not like somebody's like, let me just waste all my time thinking about this person that made me super angry. It's just it happens. And so, like, you're just eaten up by, like, they did something, they crossed you in some way, and, like, it really, really bugs you. So you're already thinking about it, and
So
you're
that
already...
bugs you, like it stays with you, like bothers you.
Well, that situation doesn't. The one way back then,
Or any
no.
of them.
But there are situations that stick with me, and
Okay.
I mean,
I have a hard
like,
time- I have a
don't
hard time
currently
relating.
have one of those situations. Like right now, if I had the power to like poke a needle into somebody's elbow, I don't have anybody that I'm interested in poking a needle in. But that doesn't mean like I haven't found phases of my life. Well, there's two people that, depending on the day.
Yeah, that's weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, I understand.
That's
I understand
weird.
that's weird to you. It's not weird to me. Like it makes
for-
complete sense.
You know, I forget about people.
People like that. Karma's a bitch. They like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. It's not crazy to me at all.
But I mean, it
Makes
must not be
sense.
crazy. I mean, the guy wrote a song about it, so
Makes
I guess
complete sense, and I
most
think
people,
that-
most people are probably like you.
I think so.
Yeah. Like, I was listening to this thing with Hillary Clinton. She was talking about Trump again. And granted, it's like, it's an election year, yeah. But she was talking about their situation. And it's like, that shit happened 4 years ago, B. She's going to go to her grave with that shit. To me, that's like weird. Like, go off and do something else, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like, there's a lot of times, sometimes I'll be scrolling through Facebook or my other Facebook or whatever, and I'm like, oh shit, yeah, that person. Like, I forgot they existed. And I'm like, oh, well, that's good that we have Facebook because it's very hard to keep track of people. But there's a lot of people
No,
where
I mean
just
that happens to
forget
me
that
too.
they're
But
alive.
if somebody's like, if I'm like in the throes of frustration with the person,
I only get frustrated with people in my circle. I don't really get frustrated with people outside my circle. Only people in my, like, the closer you are to me, the more I would be frustrated with you.
Oh, that explains a lot.
Or angry with you. But, like, if you're not in my circle at all, I'm probably liable to forget that you're even alive. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't know. That's weird. That probably does explain a lot of things. You know what I mean? Because, like, to me, like, energy is always going to be temporary. So, if I waste... I don't want to say waste because everybody's the image of God, but if I spend my energy on somebody outside of my circle, that's a piece of me that people in my circle don't have. So, you know, I don't, you know, if you're in, you're in. I'm gonna ride with you. If you're not, then you're out. Then you're out. So, why would you expend energy on somebody that's outside of your? That's the thing that's
yeah,
hard
but
for me to
I feel
figure
like
out.
that you don't understand how much energy is already being expelled because you're so angry with somebody.
Yeah, but what's there to be angry about? The deed's done and they're outside of your circle or you're outside of theirs. What else is there to be angry about?
Because they did it in the first place. Whatever it is that they did. And so you want them to have to pay for what they did.
Pay to who? To you?
Well, I mean, sure, whatever. Pay to me, no. If their elbow's bothering them, it's just, they should know they shouldn't have crossed the God that way. I'm just kidding, I'm doing that from that guy we listened to.
So you would really do that? Like if you had
Oh, I would.
you would poke somebody's elbow and be like, oh,
Well, I'm just using that as an example, but I would.
no, but you would.
I would. Yeah, I
Holy
would.
shit. Holy shit.
Absolutely would.
It's so weird, bro. It's so weird.
Yeah, and like nobody would be like, I don't even think that if I had that capability, I'm not even sure there would be any lines like who I wouldn't. I know it's horrible, but like sometimes like
I don't think it's horrible. I just think it's weird to me that you would expend.
Like,
so
let's say-
you think about these people.
let's say one of the kids is like just arguing nonstop with me. It's just nothing, they're mouthy and all that stuff. Like I could make it so that way they're silenced for a day. They can still walk around and stuff like that, you know, but they're silenced.
Yeah, I believe you would do that shit. But see, that makes sense to me when I observe you and how you engage situations, like you're more like, hey, utilitarian, right? Like, just get the job done. So like, I could definitely see you do that, and I see it serving a purpose for you. I don't see what the purpose is served though from a person who's not in your circle. Like, it doesn't improve your life.
It does.
How
Like,
does it
don't
improve your life
cross
to hurt
me
somebody
like
else?
this. I'm just telling you the truth, babe. I mean,
No,
you can look at me like I'm some kind of psychopath.
No, I don't think you're
And
a psychopath.
if you would be arguing with me too much one day,
I'm
and
just
like
confused.
it's really like exhausting. Like there's sometimes where like there's arguments between us that I'm like, wow, that's really tiring. I would say, okay, your mind is going to be a little bit not as sharp for you. So I know that's going to bug you, and that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I would. I know that sounds horrible.
No, I believe you.
Because I feel like even if you were the type of person,
I believe you would.
I feel like even if you're if you were the type of person to even do that to other people, I still feel like you wouldn't do stuff like that to me. But
do what?
like if you were the type of person to put a needle in somebody's elbow, I don't think that you would do stuff like that to me.
I mean, you can do that in real life, right? Like I could just go and hurt somebody's elbow if I wanted to. Right?
Yeah.
What am I missing here?
No, what you're missing is like when you have a dog and the dog keeps like taking off. Don't think I'm making a comparison between the person and the dog. That's not the point of this analogy.
Don't think that she would say that.
Okay,
she's just talking about
for pet lovers. They're gonna really hate
your
my
cognitive
story.
abilities.
But so I had this dog one time, and
Holy
literally
shit.
the dog would take off all the friggin' time, and we lived on a super busy road, and he'd run right into the street. So and he was so friggin' fast, like, and it was so frustrating because like you'd get almost ready to grab him so that way you could tie him up, and he would like wait until your hand was like friggin' this close, and then you'd call him and he'd come toward you, and just as you were reaching out to grab him, he'd jolt the other way, and then he'd be out in the road. It was the most frustrating thing. And then I know pet lovers are not going to like this, but I got a shock collar for him. So anytime he went toward the road, you hit a button and it makes a beeping noise, which warns them like, you should stop. And then if they don't stop, you can give them a little shock. And it depends on like what level. Like you could have them at a super low level, or like the first one was just a vibration, and then you could up it from there. So anyway, when I finally got that thing and I could make that dog listen, it was a very satisfying feeling. And I know pet lovers are going to hate me, but like I liked that I could keep, in my opinion, if it's like, okay, the dog is going to get shocked or he's going to get hit by a car, I'd rather him get shocked than hit by a car. So that really worked for that dog. I didn't even have to do it for like a very long. But anyway, the point of the story is like he learned that when I said, hey, come back here, he would come back, where before I had no leverage to make him listen to me. He didn't care about the treats. He wanted to be in the road, he was in the road. He wanted to chase that bird, he was chasing that bird. It didn't matter. So like having that, like you have like there's repercussions if you don't listen to what I'm telling you. And so it's like that. It's like the person is doing something like intentionally to like whatever, like I can't, whatever situation
the
is.
person in your circle or outside your circle?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. You treat them the exact same way.
No, somebody in your circle, you probably would give them a little bit more space.
What do you mean space?
As in like, maybe you wouldn't like poke the needle so quickly.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so like, I'm driving.
That's just weird to me, bro.
Like,
I understand. But I don't think what you're talking about is like the anomaly. I am probably the anomaly.
Like I'm driving and like this person.
But what if you do something and screw with their elbow while they're driving and they get into a giant car accident and kill their whole family?
No, like
Then what?
that's not the goal.
Yeah, it's not the goal, but like if you had that type of power and you were doing all that shit, then what if you did that? I just wrote the screenplay for a pretty good movie, huh? Yeah, it's just weird to me, bro. It's just very, it's a weird mentality to me. Like I don't understand that. But yeah, you would do that whether they were in or out of your life because you like to control those situations.
Well, yeah, because then they're like, wow, how come every time I fuck with Sori, something bad happens to me?
Yeah, but what about when
like,
you mess with people? Like people don't end up disliking people for no reason. There's usually a tit for tat happening back and forth, right? Like,
well,
I think people who dislike me have a pretty good reason to dislike me.
well, yeah, you know how to poke people in the eyes, and you're not trying to do it, but you're doing it.
What do you mean?
Like, when you engage people,
I just think that's with everybody. Like everybody, like, you know, like if you have an enemy, there's probably a 90% chance that you did something. You know what I mean? So like, why would I go and whatever? That's why I don't really think a lot about that stuff, man.
And
like,
the thing is,
like,
it wouldn't even have to be. It doesn't even have to be anything like super dramatic. Like, it could just be.
But that whole concept is a really arrogant fucking prospect, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It's like, you did something to me,
Yeah.
so I am able, like, that's like
Yeah.
God level.
Well, that's why
like,
I said you did this to the god. I said that on purpose.
Right.
No,
right.
I totally get it.
Yeah.
I know it's.
Yeah. So you're like 100% satanic, basically.
No, it's just I want to be worshipped.
That's
I'm
true.
just
you
kidding.
do.
I'm just saying that
No, you're
because
not.
of the last review when
You're
you were
not
like,
kidding.
you women just want to be worshipped all the
you kind of,
time.
yeah, you kind of do. You kind of do. That's for sure. That's for sure. But holy shit. Yeah. I don't know. I just, you know.
I would.
There's so many things that I'm juggling in my life that like requires my energy that I don't even think I have enough reserves to pay people that I don't like that type of attention.
Well, yeah, I can see that with you. You're like spread out in so many different directions. I'm not
So
quite
are
spread
you.
out in so many different.
Pretty spread out. But you probably would have a lot more. Our conversations would probably go a lot more smoother if you would clear your head of your so-called enemies, because then you would have some, you know, mental broadband to use to be able.
Yeah,
to
well, I don't actually
engage.
have any of those current situations, but like, here's a for instance. This will probably make me sound
If
bad.
you have
Okay.
people right now that you would identify that you would poke, you absolutely do. I guarantee.
No,
it.
but I don't. Oh, you mean? No, I don't have anybody that I would currently poke.
You've got
but there are two
background
people
app refresh
that
going on
could
with those people.
go on the list.
That's the
They
same
just-
thing.
Yeah, but they're not on the list right now. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you guys
She's crazy as hell.
this story. So I keep my toothbrush and my toothpaste in the shower, but you have to understand, like, I like to be very clean about stuff, and it doesn't. I'm going with it. It doesn't matter. Like, if I am already feel like I'm stretched beyond my limits because there's like so many kids around and everybody's touching stuff and whatever. But anyway, so my toothbrush and toothpaste is in there and it's on its own little shelf. And I tell everybody, like, don't put anything on the shelf. I don't want your washcloth on my toothbrush. I don't want any of that grossness. So there's one person that kept putting their hairbrush on my toothbrush, which was grossing me out. And I kept saying, stop putting your hairbrush on my toothbrush. And I like gave them other alternatives where they could put it. Nope, kept landing on it. Now in a situation like that, I might have taken my voodoo doll out, but I don't have one. So you know what I did instead? I took their hairbrush and I threw it behind the washing machine. And that was such a satisfying feeling to hear it go back there because I knew they were gonna have to dig it out. And so, I know, you think this is petty. Petty as fuck. Anyway, so they came, they were like, Mom, I can't find my hairbrush. I'm like, you know what? I think it's behind the washing machine. And so they like dig it out. They put it in there. This happens 2 more times. And then on the second time, they're like, I just don't understand how it's landing there. I'm like, listen, every time your toothbrush lands on my every time your hairbrush lands on my toothbrush, that's where it's gonna go. You know what? After that, miraculously, the person can remember now.
What do you give the song?
And they don't do that anymore. I give it a 8.99.
It's a 6.7 for me.
Oh, really?
There you go.
I like the concept.
There you go, ladies and
apparently.
gents. Vin out.
Story out.
Gone.
Give the splinters. Walk on, give the splinters. Walk on, give the splinters. Show. Padre Abo. Gonna get a splinter. sure. Now find my little fan and a course and long. Se la fe carabos on the brow. Padre and man too. Un padre diablo. Grind on the brow. Padre man and no. Padre man pepe no. Some people think they jive me, but I know they must be crazy. Don't see their misfortune, else they just too lazy. Je suis le grand zombie, my yellow belt of choice on. Ain't afraid of no tomcat, fill my brains with poison. Walk through the fire, fly through the smoke. See my enemy at the end of their road. Walk on pins and needles, see what they can do. Walk on gilded splinters with the king of the Zulu. Dang, I'm at a